Hey, Thrand here. Today, what we're going to be doing is comparing cheap throwing knives and throwing blades and cheap Shuriken, which, I mean, believe it or not, these could be considered Shuriken or throwing blades. It's miniature. This is a Shuriken. I'm sure you all had these from back in the 80s and stuff too, like I did. They're only about 4 inches across, where traditional ones that we believe that they've found and so on, I can't document how far back, or at least 5 to 6 inches. If not something like this crossed over with spikes on all sides, and we've seen some stuff like that in museums too that were huge. But it's my belief historically they would have used stuff more like this, like the flying steel version. This is based on the Kogatana, and we're going to see that today and see what kind of penetration it has. And it has a nice edge on it, which is basically a throwing blade. These are throwing spikes, but if you look, a lot of them historically have a almost like a bodkin style point. You know, where it's triangular or square, but to a point. Where these are made, when they were sent to me, I believe were made more for wood. I mean, they work great in having a taper like that, like a punch, works really good in wood. They stick awesome. They just don't, like I said, I don't know if they'll perform as good on flesh, because we have the same problem we had in the Mythbusters video, where it, you know, it has to spread the tissue and slide in instead of tearing a hole, which I'm assuming our hypothesis is going to do better. These blades are very light. They're very hard to throw because they're so light, and because they're not your conventional size and so on. And also the lightness, not that you can't throw them, they don't even fit in the hand properly, you see. These are miniatures, we're going to use these today, but something like this fits beautifully. When you go to throw it, no matter what throwing style you use, you're able to do it properly. Now this is a kunai, and of course everybody knows this isn't like a historical kunai, but it's one of the replicas. It's actually balanced pretty good for throwing. Actually, it's one of my sons. It's not real sharp. We're going to throw it anyway, even though it doesn't have a great edge, but it's got a good point on it. But we're going to test this out, try the different weights, and realize that these are the cheapy things you get at flea markets, at little Asian stores and so on, where they have the mass-produced ones. This has got Koga on it, and it's spelled K-O-H-G-A instead of K-O-G-A, or I mean, I'm sure there's different spellings, but I like the design. I think I want to use this one because I think maybe it might stay in, whereas the Shuriken back in the day, a lot of the Senden Shuriken were shaped like that, and I think they were made to bounce out. So, I mean, I don't think these were designed to kill the larger versions, really. The little ones, it was designed to throw large numbers. We're going to try these out in a minute on the 2 different mediums. We've got a pork roast. It's hog. It's fairly as fresh as we could get it, and that's going to act as our flesh sample to test on to see our depth penetration. And I have made a Ballistic gel pork roast, and we're going to put this back in the fridge, so fear not, it's going to stay at the proper temperature. I just have it out here to reduce it. This will be our second testing medium, and we're going to see what these things do today, see what we can do with them. Let's get ready to start. Yeah, we're going to start off with these cheap mini throwing knives. I would call them Shuriken or small blades, I mean, myself, but they're miniatures. I mean, these are something you'd go throw, if you bought these at the store, you'd go throw them into cardboard or styrofoam or something like that. And I mean, you could stick them in wood, but we had to sharpen these really, really good to even get a chance at that, because they're so lightweight. They're very difficult. They don't fit in the hand right, like I said. You have to really like work on your throwing technique to throw them. But if you want to do something indoors in a garage or something like this is fine. We're not trying to put them down. We're just saying I wouldn't carry these into combat. I really don't think they're going to have that kind of penetration nor range due to the light weight. But we're going to go ahead and toss one into the wood and see what it does. Now, it's stuck fairly well. It's hard to keep them perfectly aligned because, like I said, they don't fit in the hand properly. Let's throw one into the loop now. There we go. We got one into the meat. Sorry, these things are very difficult to throw. Please forgive me if anything goes wrong here. But we were trying to see what kind of penetration we get. In the wood, you've seen me throw stuff that's really hard to, it barely went in. So I give you a judgment if you're used to throwing into wood, and plywood's really hard to throw into, but not very good. But let's see what we got in the meat. Remember, we sharpen these. And I might not have thrown it perfectly straight. They're kind of difficult to go with. It hit the bone. We've got a bone hit. It's in the bone. Not bad. We might throw this one again and just try it out, but that's not very deep flesh. We got about 1.25 inches. I'm going to throw this one more time after it gives us a good performance like that. I did sharpen the heck out of it. This is very close range too. We'll see what I can do. Oh, two more. This one did not hit the bone. I think that hit the cartilage and stuck in it. But I'm going to show you the kind of penetration we got. We got about 1 inch. And this one, we hit it. I might have hit it a little at an angle like that when it went in. Got the same thing, about 1 inch, and no, there's no bone there stopping it. That's just flesh. Now, yeah, you could think this is really bad, but as a wound bleeding out or something, unless somehow it was a magical thing and it cut an artery, which would be either really tough to cut, I don't think this is going to stop somebody. It's going to make them really mad. Maybe if you hit them in the eye. This is a cheap Hira Shuriken, which means round or circular. So that means the points. And Japanese would mean this would be a ninja style shuriken or shinobi, what we know it as. Well, I don't know how far back in history these go. I'm sure they go way back, but we don't have a lot of documentation. We found some of the Sinbin style shuriken that were larger than this. We're talking like 5-6 inches, and they're heavy. They're not as light as this. But we don't have one to compare it with today, use as a test or control and see what it does. But we're going to try throwing this one, and these are very difficult to throw. I mean, you want spin on them, and you want to make sure you put a good spin on them, but they don't stick really well, in my opinion, these lightweight ones like this. We'll see if we can get it in the wood one time with the overhand throw, which isn't common, but you have to put spin on it. So we'll see what happens. And it looked like it stuck pretty good, but bounced right out, because I saw it stop a second. So I see what I'm getting is like holes, and it looks like it hit something like that, but it bounced out. Okay. Which is kind of expected. Then you've got the horizontal throwing style, which we got a nice dent, but this is really awesome ply. There we go. We got one in. Let's go check it out. It buried in deeper than I expected. I threw a pretty good throw there. It's hooked in like I thought it would, where the Hira Shuriken, got a little dirt on this, still going to eat it anyway, but the Hira Shuriken, what I was going to say, the Sinbin style that you see that's tapered that way was designed to cut, because it was a cutting edge too, and like fly off into the distance. So at night, if you hit a sentry, and they were very superstitious, they believed in Oni, demons, all that kinds of things, might run off to get help thinking he got cut by an invisible swordsman or a demon or spirit or something and never find the shuriken. We'll see what kind of penetration we got. Looks like we got a lot of meat and fat here. We got it all the way in. And like I thought, like an arrowhead, it stuck. That was pretty decent. Might try a horizontal throw just to see what that does, if I can hit it. And my throw's off. I want to hit about here, so to be honest, guys, these are very difficult to throw for me. Don't throw them as often. But we got the same effect. But that's still only 1 inch. And legally, to say this thing's illegal is ridiculous, because that's not considered by law enforcement even close to killing anyone.
It's non-lethal.
Yeah, it's non-lethal. That would hurt somebody, make them mad if he was berserking on you and he'd probably running. But now a whole bunch of these, a lot of blood loss going on, and maybe the ones that bounce out, so the bleed, the hole would be just as deep, it would bounce out easier. Wouldn't have this taper to hook it. You can have a guy bleeding quite a bit, quick blood loss, while his heart's pumping, if you're going to fight him. I believe the legend, kill the guy. You basically get him weakened by the blood loss. So I could see them maybe using something like that. Okay, now we've got the cheap kunyai. And to be honest with you, Elgrim gave this to my son. It's not really sharp. It's got a sharp point. This is something, it's just the way you buy it. It's cheap, it's China, it's handcrafted, stainless steel. It was hardened in China. Sorry, you get what you pay for. It's not a traditional large kunyai that was a spade used for digging. It was a tool for the ninja. It wasn't necessarily a weapon. We don't know how often they threw it. They could have fought with it too, or the shinobi. But, we've got a representation of it, and it's pretty well balanced for throwing. I was thinking we'd try it out, see what it does. I'll throw it in the wood first, like I've been doing. There we go. See, that's stuck in the wood. But let's see what kind of penetration we got compared to stuff that we get from better companies. It's not really that good. A little 1/4 inch stick. Let's see what we can do on the meat with it. This is very difficult to throw properly. The shape makes it not want to leave the hand right. You've got a ring that can hit stuff on the way out. This doesn't feel even when you're trying to balance it. So I'm explaining as if You think, oh, Thrand's not doing as good as normal. No, because I'm not throwing the things I normally used to throw on. This is like going to your kitchen and taking forks and butter knives and trying to stick them. You can do it, but it's not fun. And you need to try again. Oh, we got one in. My first throw, if you all saw it, cut the bone, or between the gristle, not much, but it cut it as it hit the wood and stuck in. But let's see what we got. There's no bone in here or anything. We do the lightness and everything. Wow, we got almost 2 inches. Almost, not quite. I'm going by the old Viking measurement of an inch. Or a thumb. They would use a thumb, not an inch, but see what I'm saying? It's easier to tell with the digits this way and they're about the same, that it's not quite 2 inches. About 1.5 inches, so it's like about 1.5 thumb if you want to use Viking measurement. I don't think it's worth trying again. It's too hard to throw. I don't really like it. We'll move to something else. Okay, we've got the Mumyo Ryu. I won't be introducing these later, so remember which ones I've got here. This is the hologram made by Huzan Suzuki, Grandmaster. Let's go ahead and you can get these, and remember the newer ones have a different taper than this one. This is for wood. But, little under rotation, but we got to stick into the wood. Throwing awfully close, not used to it. Same kind of thing. So let's see if we can throw a good one into the meat. I try to set up for this range and well, it went clean through what it hit. And that's 2.5. I think we can do better than that. Let me throw again at this. I'll just okay, this meat's giving a lot here, but it looks like no bone. It almost came out the back side. And I would say that's a good 3 inches. If you're measuring the thumb properly, not so, it's at least 3 thumbs or 3 inches. I get about 3 right there. Now, I say 3 inches is pretty nasty. That could hurt somebody. We might try throwing in that bone there just to do it. Oh, there we go. That's what I wanted. Did it hit the bone? Yes! We've impaled a bone. And I want you all to see this. I mean, I could feel it right here, but it's hard for you to see. It didn't actually technically go through the tissue, but see the point? I don't know if this is possible to see it. See the point? Can it be seen?
Yeah, it's right there.
It's just, I don't want to force it to the tissue because that's cheating, but this is going to be hard to get out. That went through this bone. And it did 3 inches through a bone, so this means this could impale a bone on a human. Like if it hit your arm or something, the bone just right, it could actually go through the bone. We didn't have that effect with the other. It made it to the bone, but barely tipped it. It didn't. This went through a bone and out the backside. So I would say this is a dangerous shuriken, in my opinion. And remember, if it was in you, don't just yank it out, because we've got that same principle. If it was this design, specifically your first instinct is to pull it out. If you pulled it out, you'd wind up gushing blood everywhere. Okay, this is the Saracen, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a longer spike. It's a cross between a shuriken and a spike. It's more of a throwing spike. They're supposed to be wrapped. I'm going to wrap them. We're going to do a demo. I'm going to throw these at really long range real quick. But today we're just trying them on this for fun. And like I said, they're not wrapped right for me. I'm trying to throw really close. Just make sure we get a stick. They stick really well. See if we can hit that meat with it. Already, I'm not that far away because I want to make sure we ensure the same range and testing, and I couldn't do that with the other shuriken. It's not possible. Let's see what we got with this. It went all the way through and out the back side. We're going to flip this back down and we're going to look, see what kind of penetration we got. These are heavier. It went, I would say, a little over 3 inches, like 3¼ inches. If we're doing it in thumbs, because some of y'all are Viking reenactors, and yeah, 3¼ inches. That's almost getting up the 4-inch mark, which I think would be very lethal on the body, possibly, depending on how heavy set your opponent is or whatever. I don't know if we need to throw this one again. I'm pretty sure it'll impale bone. It has more penetration because it's longer. I could throw it once more if y'all want, just to see what I get. Oh. That's one of my more powerful throws. It doesn't have the range of the other ones throwing that way, but I want to see what it would do. I think we figured out what the Shuriken could do.
It
when
went
tells you
through
something
into
like
the wood.
this is not dangerous. Now, this is not with cloth on or heavy denim or a leather jacket, but
It's stuck in the wood like a nail.
yeah, and this went through all that meat. Not that my other throws weren't good, but that went clean through. There was no, and there's no bone there. I mean, just letting y'all know there was not a bone. But now that, not every throw we threw would have been lethal. I consider that could be lethal. I'm sorry, but if you compare that to a person, we've got like on me, that'd be through my front side into my kidney. Yeah. So anybody tells you something like this isn't dangerous, when you get the proper weight and stuff, yes, even, I would like a cutting edge on it, but for real combat, but still. Okay, this is the East Wind Blade from Flying Steel, and I took liberty of getting a little bit more edge. It comes with a good edge anyway. I want to try this out, see how it does on actual penetration and flesh. That's pig flesh. We'll throw into the wood first to get our calibration going. I threw a little above the meat just to do it, and I am throwing a distance I'm not used to throwing this close. So, yes, I know I can wiggle it, but I'm trying to show the sticking power from, just trying to pull the thing out. That's, you can tell this thing's going to have some power. Let me go ahead and, it's kind of hard to throw overhand into this. I might throw one overhand, see how it does, because I might hit the wood. That's been happening. So I'm going on a platform that wouldn't be there sticking out in front of the gentleman, unless maybe he had a shield like that. But we'll throw one overhand, and then I'll go with one, like I did on the other one, to see what we get. Ooh. Like I said, the edge makes a difference. The old Kogatana, when they threw that,
It did the same thing and went all the way through the wood, didn't it?
yes! Oh. And I want to show the penetration. I had my finger about there. Well, we can't count what came out the back other than the wood, but I'm sorry, that's another kill in my opinion. I don't see somebody living through it, especially with the edge. That's a cut. It could bleed out around it possibly, even though it does kind of plug the hole. It cut an opening. Let's try that side throw and see if I can hit that bone with a little more power. Ugh. Not the angle I wanted.
But I think that certainly illustrates how amazing that is. You can see it through the other side.
Oh yeah, let's go one more time. I want that bone. The bane. It's mine. Ugh. Did we hit the bone? Yes.
Yeah, we hit bone. I heard
I
it.
see blown splinter.
Yep, that's splintered bone.
And it's in the bone. It shattered the bone and splintered it. But it did stop it. So if it hit a bone,
oh,
it
yeah.
shattered the bone, but it went about 3 inches. Not bad. I think this is a very good Shuriken. And we'll bring it on Ballistic Joe. Okay, we have the little cheap throwing knives, or what I call mini Shuriken. They aren't really made for the hand very well. See if we can get one of those to stick in the ballistics gel. Ooh. Ooh, I hit the wood, but I don't care. These things are really inaccurate. Let's see what we got. Well, it looks like it bounced back out, but it didn't even go in the proper depth. I think that was blade drag and the lightness of this, because we got at least to here on the meat. To here, we got less. And the cut wound doesn't look right, because you wouldn't get a cut going that way. Flesh would not tear. Try throwing one of those real powerful ones with this and see what we can do. That'd be cool. Ooh. Let's check it out. Now, I've tried to give it its best, possibility, but to me, that tore a hole. Is anybody seeing what I'm seeing? It cut, but it ruptured. It's like it ripped. I don't know. I mean, I made this by a proper standard that I can tell. It's a proper consistency, but that's not behaving a lot like flesh. I mean, we got something similar to the depth. So for ballistics, this may be very accurate. I mean, that's pretty decent. On a higher velocity, I could see it averaging out. Try the raw Shuriken. So we're not trying to diss everybody that uses this. We're just trying to test it for ourselves. I did not get the same penetration I did in the meat. I got that much. But still, if you want to say that's accurate, that's still not any close to a kill. Not worried about the overhand throw. I know they say you can get more power throwing up here down to somebody's crotch level, but I don't believe that was a common technique like a baseball would be. Let's go ahead and use our kunya. I'm staying a little bit closer because I'm sorry, these throws so terribly. I don't want to sit here all day trying to get it to fly just right in the air with it snaking out of my hand because of the shape of this thing. See if we can get it to stick. And it hit. I know I hit the table a little bit. But we got a weird cut wound. Doesn't look like a cut wound. It's the one from one earlier where I threw a test throw before we started, and I meant to fit the wood and I hit that. But look at that. I mean, depth of penetration is advanced out. I can't even hardly tell, but it didn't even seem to perform as good as it did on our meat. Did it, Old?
No, not at all.
Okay, we're just going through this pretty quick. It's just to see what we got from ballistic shell compared to, the meat we test, which we believe is more accurate in our mind. I mean, I know we could put a layer of cloth on it or put armor over there if we need. Oh, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Now, in the meat, remember I know that we got it at a top angle and it can go straight through the center, but this is about the same thickness of the meat. It's already split and it wants to split here. I don't know if you're all seeing what I'm saying. With ballistics, I see it maybe high velocity working better, but it's just not seeming correct. Take one more toss.
Great, thank you.
That was a good one. But what I'm noticing is, see how this wedges? Since it doesn't cut, there's nothing to even start a channel. It went straight into the wood. I have no doubt it would have gone deeper through more of it. But it left a wound that wouldn't be there. I'm sorry, I wouldn't have a cut in my sternum like that. Okay, the longer spike, we know it's going to go clean through, and it's ripping a hole. At the low velocity, it's not acting like we expected it to. So we're going to go ahead and try to throw this one. And this is the east wind blade. And it has an edge, so maybe it'll leave a more believable wound channel. We'll see what it does. We're pretty sure it's just going to go clean through. And I hit high, but we'll go with it. It cut. But it also split too, and it's got a edge. I mean, that's an edge that could cut. And I know it hit in medium where it's up towards the top. But I'll try one more time. Let's try that really powerful throw from the side. I'll just stand off camera here and throw into it. Okay, let's see where our... Now, I did see it cut and ride down. I don't know if you saw it. It didn't just split. So maybe that's a little more believable. I'm going to try taking the whole thing off together. But like the back wound, the splitting and tearing, I'm just not seeing that as a real wound to tell you anything. Like I said, you can start hitting it and get your finger to start going in. You can push really hard and you tear pieces of this off and you try to cut it. It doesn't, it's like you don't even have to use a proper technique. It just starts cutting. That doesn't seem anything like meat to me. I mean, I'm sorry, but... And that's supposed to be 10% ballistic gel that we formed there. And I made it approximately the same thickness as our roast. Hope you all enjoyed our little thing today. It was just to have fun. We're more or less playing around, experimenting with one medium compared to the other. We were hoping that maybe it would be real accurate for throwing weapons and we could just farm this stuff up and use it for videos to see penetration and so on. But I'm seeing much more penetration, and I'm seeing splitting and tearing and cuts that you wouldn't even get from an edge like this on living tissue or fresh tissue.